All right, monthly challenges are back at ZBJW, and for August 2022, the challenge is to create a piece of jewelry using ArrayMesh. Or incorporating the ArrayMesh tool into your design. So you can make any style that you want, any type of piece of jewelry you want. Challenge is just to work with ArrayMesh, explore it as a tool, give you some new ideas. So I'm going to create a short video that's just going to do a demo. I'm just going to make something up on the fly, just to give you a jumping off point. So let's go to a polymesh star and press W, and let's create just a simple ring. And I'm going to increase the divisions in that way, but let's decrease the divisions using this green thing right here. And we can twist it a little bit, and I'm going to change the radius. So I have no idea what I'm making here. I'm just kind of fooling around. Let's try that. So I'll accept that. Go to Gizmo, and I'm going to divide it a few more times. Let's turn on transform, activate symmetry. Let's do radial symmetry on the z-axis. Let's set the radial count to 16 or something like that. And then we pull up the inflate brush. So just fooling around with some ideas there. And then we can go down here to ArrayMesh. And the idea is to, this is my original object. ArrayMesh is going to create instances, and then I'm going to use a bunch of sliders to kind of arrange those instances. So the first thing you want to do is turn on ArrayMesh, and we are in the tool palette. So this is the tool palette. Down here below geometry is ArrayMesh. So now it's activated. Set the repeats, so we can set this to, let's set this to like 5. And then what you do is you come down here and change the mode. So right now it's set to offset. So that means that if I start to pull on these sliders, it's going to offset in X or Y or Z or any combination, right? And then you can use these little, set these back to 0. You can use this little profile here to kind of give it less of a linear distance there to the offset. So this graph is modifying the Y or the Z offset. And then I can set the mode to something like rotate and play with this, same kind of deal. Just kind of rotating these around. You could also use the graph here. If you want to make it a little bit more randomized and not so regular. And then if I decide, I like that, but I want to go back to offset and change this. And then the other cool thing is that I can continue to work on the original while ArrayMesh is on to adjust my design. So in other words, here's my original, these are the instances. If I like select the move brush and start pulling, let's do this. Start pulling these in. You can see how I can start to shape that original, and it affects all the instances. I can even subdivide it. Let's turn off this so we can get a better idea what's going on. And, you know, like I said, great way to kind of play around, come up with some weird ideas, maybe even good ideas, but this is a great thing to play with when you feel like you need some ZBrush practice, but you just want to experiment. So that's why we're doing the challenge on ArrayMesh. I can turn it off and then go back in here and sculpt on this a little bit if I need to see this, and then just turn it back on, and there you go. There's also some presets. If you go into Lightbox ArrayMesh presets, you can go in here and like double click on one of these, and it's going to instantly load that preset for your current model, and then you can go in here and adjust the settings based on that. So I'm going to undo that. And let's say this is something I like and I want to turn it into a mesh that I want to sculpt as a single piece. Let's go in here, play with the repeats a little bit. That's kind of cool. I don't know if it's good, but it's interesting. It's different. A little random. Bizarro. Anyways, so let's say I like this. I can go down here and choose make mesh, and it's going to make a mesh. It says mesh is composed of multiple subdivision levels. So I guess before we can do that, we need to get rid of our subdivision levels. So let's find something like, well, we can go to 5 here, and I'll choose delete lower. Now it doesn't have any subdivision levels, so I can go back down to array mesh. Let's try that again. Make mesh. And then we have a mesh. It's about 1.5 million polygons. That's not too bad. And then, of course, we can sculpt this, go in here and do Dynamesh or whatever. And right now, it's still separate objects. So, for example, if I go in here and I hit auto groups, you can see each mesh is its own polygroup. So, if you want to fuse this together, I can go in here to geometry and go Dynamesh. Let's just see what the default is. So the default's kind of low, so I'm going to undo that. Bring this up a little bit. There we go. 500,000, that's not bad. I'm not going to use this as a starting place for further sculpting. Whatever it is. I mean, this is obviously, I don't know if this is a earring or a pendant or what. It's just some goofy messing around just to see if we can come up with ArrayMesh. So there you go. That is the challenge. I hope you have some fun with it, and I'd like to see what kind of interesting stuff you come up with.